Hi there, welcome to LSB Feasters Radio Channel, where we keep great radio from the past alive. Today, we are going to Dallas and 94.9 KLTY. Now, KLTY was a legendary Christian adult contemporary station with friendly personalities. It eventually actually became one of the market leaders in Dallas-Fort Worth. Brother John Rivers hosted mornings for many, many years. Former WNBC personality Frank Reed was on air at KLTY for over 30 years. Much of that time in Morning Drive with Starleen and Hudson. In December 2024, KLTY owner Salem Communications announced that KLTY and 6 other Salem Contemporary Christian FM stations would be sold to the Educational Media Foundation, which runs KLTY, a national Christian radio network. This move would help Salem reduce its debt. This would also mean that all the employees would lose their jobs. It was a shock to the staff and the listeners, especially since the station was the number 2 rated station in Dallas at the time. This Aircheck features KLTY's final broadcast day before signing off for good. It features the final morning show with hosts Bonnie and Jeremiah, along with guests John Rivers and Frank Reed, as they remembered 40 years of KLTY. It's the final morning show on the final day of 94.9 KLTY Dallas.
And you are mine.
Hillsong there, 94.9 KLTY. Good morning. We are Bonnie and Jeremiah. On Friday, 6:04 right now on this, the very last broadcast day as KLTY. Tomorrow, this signal continues hope and encouragement through our friends at KLTY. At midnight, they flip the switch, and you'll continue to hear the music you love.
Absolutely.
With friends you'll get to know and cherish and love as well. But for us, today is it. It is a bittersweet day. And I'm going to be honest, you're going to hear a lot of tears, a lot of sniffling, a lot of pauses. We may not be the most polished and professional today, but
today.
You're going to hear our hearts, and you're going to know by the end of this broadcast that we love you so deeply.
You know, I got in the car this morning, and as I was driving, I just thought to myself, okay, last time.
Yeah.
And it's this is going to be a lot harder than I thought. I really thought that today I've made peace with this, I promise. And I know that God has good plans for all of us. And of course, all of our Fish family across all those cities, our friends in Atlanta. I know that I've already reached out to Kevin and Taylor. Y'all, there is a family inside of Christian music that the Fish and of course KLTY has been a part of for so many years. And today is a very bittersweet day for a lot of people. And so I want all of our friends and family to know that we are also lifting you up in our prayers. But today, it's going to be both a celebration. We're going to take some turns down memory lane. We're going to be visited by some very old friends. And we're going to hear from artists like Mercy Me and Amy Grant and Stephen Curtis Chapman and so many others that know that KLTY was a part of their story as well. So as we do this today, here's a couple of things that I think are very exciting. Today is going to be completely commercial free.
Yeah.
We're just going to play songs that lift you up, lift us up. We're going to just cry together. We're going to laugh together. We're going to do this thing that we have done.
And share memories together.
For so many years.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, it's so early for me to start. Okay, I'm going to put it together, and we're just going to play some songs and love on you because we are so glad to be here on our final day of 94.9 KLTY.
Hey, it's Hannah Kerr. KLTY, congratulations on 40 amazing years of music and ministry. It's amazing to think of how many lives all over the Dallas area have been touched by your music and your ministry that you've shared. Thank you so much for supporting me and my songs, for reminding the people in the Dallas area that we are warriors, that it's God's strength within us that gives us all that we need to fight through life's hardest battles. I pray God's richest blessings over the next season been in each of your lives, and I'm so grateful for the way that you've shared the gospel for 40 amazing years.
So joined by John Hudson and my buddy Frank Reed, kind of a homecoming here, a moment to say, hey, I know that lots and lots of emotions, a lot of thoughts about KLTY wrapping it up. You were a big part of so many of the things that were really formulative for what we did at KLTY. We just wanted to ask you some of your favorite memories of being a part of KLTY.
So I spent 25 years with Salem, and throughout the weeks I've been thinking, man, the things that we got to do just were unbelievable. My wife Jill, we were talking the other night just about like the trips that we got to give to people. I remember Frank.
Yeah.
It was our first time we ever went to Walt Disney World.
Oh.
And we had a full day of all of that and fun and been on the air, and there's a time change. And Frank, Starleen, and I had a really nice meal together, and it was pretty early. And Frank said, well, kids, I'm going to bed. We got a show to do tomorrow. See you later. Star goes, I'm doing the same. I'll see y'all in the morning. And Frank goes, Hudson, you're getting on that tram and you're going back to Magic Kingdom. And I said, no, I'm not. He goes, yes, you are. And he goes, you've never seen the fireworks show at night. You have no kids right now. This is a paid for trip. I'm not asking you, and I've never done this, but I'm telling you, you're getting on that bus. And I went, okay. And so I did. I got on the bus, went to Magic Kingdom, and I'd never seen the fireworks show. That was my first trip to Disney ever. And of course, I'm a talker, so I meet all the people around me, and just had a great time. And as the fireworks show went off, I'm bawling, I'm in tears, and I went, this is magical. This is so fun. And we get to give this same trip to a family who would probably never be able to get to do something like that. And the sweetest parts for me, like I said, the Disney thing, that's huge. It doesn't get bigger than that. But the day-to-day, just talking with our friends, that we had made over the years. And so-and-so's got a spelling test tomorrow, and they want to call so we could pray for them. Golly, we prayed like all morning long for people. As the songs were playing, people would call. And that was so special for us. But what's cool is through social media, like we're still all connected. It just looks a little different.
Yeah. You didn't really get a great chance to say goodbye.
Yeah.
And I want you to have that moment. I want you to say goodbye to the KLTY family. So, John Hudson, take it away.
Wow. You helped me all grow up, all of you. Bonnie, Frank, everyone behind the scenes, Big Mike, the listeners. Friends became family, and I literally grew up there. And I made a ton of mistakes, and I fell on my face, and you guys picked me back up, and you made me the man I am today. And I will forever be grateful for those opportunities and those moments, and the mentorship and the laughter and the memories and the magic moments and the prayers and the trials and the tragedies that we all got to be there for one another. I still hold that close to my heart, and I forever will. And wherever we all wind up, it was all worth it. I'd do it all over again. And so I say thank you. What a ride it has been. I don't know where we'll end up, but you will always be forever in my heart. God loves you.
I speak for a lot of KLTY people when they say, we missed you, John Hudson, and we wish you every good thing.
I miss all of you too. I miss all of you, every one of you. But Bon, whatever you do, Frank, whatever you do, the KLTY staff, the listeners, as this comes to a book close, there is another book that is being written that God already has the plot for. So the key is to stay in His Word so you can be a part of the plot,
94.9 KLTY.
Well, good morning, Jeremiah and Bonnie. It's Mary Rose. Your redhead is in the room, and I wanted to talk to you today about an unsung hero behind the scenes here at KLTY. Big Mike, our program director. Let me tell you a story about our boss, Big Mike. Now, keep in mind, April the 24th, I'll be 20 years sober. Something to just keep in the back of your mind. Mike Pendergrast was one of my on-air bosses at the radio station I worked at before KLTY. So that was years ago. So I'm thinking back 2003. And he remembered me and knew me before I became a believer. So let's fast forward to February 2014. I came up here to KLTY to just meet one of the salespersons in the lobby. And I knew Mike worked here. And I was like, hey, do you think I could have a minute with him? Do you know, I was able to make a chance to make some amends with Big Mike. It was really a big moment for me. So 6 weeks later, he messaged me on Facebook, wow, and asked if I was available to come work at KLTY on the weekends. I said, sure, absolutely, I'd love to. So I got to spend my last 10 years in radio working for one of the best bosses ever. Mike is a man who loves the Lord, his wife Teresa, and their 2 daughters, son-in-law, and now a little granddaughter. So thank you, Mike Pendergrast, for giving me grace and mercy when I didn't deserve any of it. I will say that I did give you a number 1 show at night in every demo for 2 solid years.
Subtle.
Woo woo, praise Jesus.
Subtle.
You know, I have to put my MR twist in here. Mike, but you showed me more about who Christ is through your actions with me.
Yeah,
Coming to trust and guide me here at KLTY. I asked Mike a few years ago why he hired me back in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'll never forget what you said to me, Mike. You said, you know, MR, you've gone above and beyond anything I would have ever imagined you doing. That, my friends, is grace and mercy and love and the kindness of God. I hope in my new career I can be a great boss like Mike has been to me. Patient, kind, listening. Okay, so the listening is new for me, but I'm a work in progress. My boss says I'm getting better at it. Yeah. So thank you, Mike P., our unsung hero here at KLTY, for introducing me to Christian radio and believing in me when no one else did.
I'm not an emotional guy, but you're going to make me cry.
Yeah, I just really...
Thank you.
Yeah, you do so much behind the scenes. I heard Bonnie talking about you on the way in when she needed to go to be at practice for her girls. You let her go. That's just the kind of guy you are. And you took a chance on me. So if people listening right now and you're thinking, where's my life going to go? I'm not going to be here anymore, Bonnie and Jeremiah. I'm in a career now. I manage the Frisco Square location for a corporation. Who knew that what God had in store for me? I'm managing people, and I love it. I'm with people every day. And I had no idea where God was going to put me. But that's the goodness of our Father. He is going to sweep you guys up. We all have our individual talents. And when we have bosses like Mike, who has just poured so much into me over these years, I'm going to be able to take that and use it in my new career. I really am, and I'm just so grateful. You have no idea how appreciative I am of you, and for taking a chance on me when you knew what I was like before I got sober. You'll never know what that meant to me.
Thank you. I'm so proud of you, and just seeing you and can't wait to see how this new job really pans out.
We are proud of you, Mary Rose. We are grateful we had time with you. Yeah. We are grateful that Curtis allowed you to spend time with us, because I know how much he loves you. So
thank you,
Mary Rose. Thank you for all the years, my friend.
I will second your thoughts on Mike. I remember when I first got here, I got to walk the halls and be in meetings and hang out with Mike very closely, since we work so close together. And I remember one time telling him, Mike, you're a really good man, dude. And I mean that. Not just a great programmer, radio guy, but genuinely strong character, such a solid believer, and a genuine good man. I said, one of these days I want to grow up and be as good a man as you.
Nice.
And doesn't he have the patience of a saint? I mean, I don't know how many
times he's been with us.
Right? We've gone in there and
because we don't even call him Big Mike anymore. We call him Mike.
Oh, that's so cute. Love it. I love
Few
it.
memories for everybody right now, because we can and we will all day. Thanks for sharing them with us. It's 94.9 KLTY.
Elevation there, 94.9 KLTY. Good morning, my friends. 7:06 on your Friday. And on this, the final day as KLTY. Now, the good news is the 94.9 frequency continues to broadcast the hope and encouragement, the music you love, with some new friends. Our friends over at KLTY. You'll hear them and get to know them tomorrow.
So, y'all, it is an interesting day today, because, yes, as we say, see you later to 94.9 KLTY. The craziest thing is happening right now. We have in this room two gentlemen that kind of started it all for us. Frank Reed is with us right now. Good morning, Francis.
Good morning, Bon.
I'm one of the only people, I think, that gets to call you Francis.
You can call me Francis.
I have
anytime.
called you Francis since day one, I think. I think Patty actually looked at me and she goes, "Do you call him Francis?" And I went, "I get to do that. It's actually a privilege of
And I didn't even
knowing you
ask.
for 29 years." And we have the legendary John Rivers. Buddy.
Hey.
When I walked in, I just stopped for a second and I just went, I've not seen you in the longest time, my friend. John Rivers, we are so glad you are here today on this very special day. I know this is hard for everybody because I know in the very beginning, getting this whole thing off the ground, and we're going to talk some stories. I really want you to share some of the stories of some of the artists when they were getting started.
Wow.
I want you to share some stories about Rich Mullins because that to me is the very heart of so much of kind of what started us off. But it's good. It's good to have you here. My goodness, Frank, this feels like we're just rolling back the clock for a second here, and it's like, what is happening right now?
Yeah. Wow. John, I remember when Rich passed.
Oh my, yeah.
And you called, and I remember exactly where I was.
Yeah.
I was on Highway 121 over around where Grapevine Mills is now, the mall. And you said, "Frank, Rich Mullins has passed."
Oh my.
And I remember for days and days and days, at the top of the hour,
Yeah.
we did a tribute to him, and we would just play Rich's songs over and over and over again. And I know that he was very special to you.
Yeah, he was my best artist friend. And Saturday morning, September 17th, 1997, I got a call.
Yeah.
Let me know Rich was gone. And it shattered me. Think of the songs he wrote.
Yeah.
Endless. Not just Awesome God.
Yeah.
Endless songs.
Yeah.
Endless lyrics. Richard Wayne Mullins. Thanks for mentioning him.
Absolutely.
He had such a heart for God. He really did, didn't he? I mean, I don't know that a lot of people know how very weird Rich Mullins was. And he really and truly was. People have asked me over the years, like, what was Rich like? And I went, unlike almost anybody I've ever met in my life, he was about as real as a person gets. And he was happy to admit how flawed he was. I mean, he had a spicy sense of humor.
Yep.
And he would kick back, and he didn't care. He really didn't care what you thought of him.
That's right.
Really didn't.
That's right.
But he wrote songs that talked about brokenness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was open about it in a way. I often felt like Rich reminded me of David, because I often thought of Rich just singing by himself, just singing to God all the time. Nobody around, just writing his songs, singing his songs. And I just had this feeling that when he was taken, after all the sadness and the devastation of it, that I just had this feeling deep in my heart that God went, I don't want to be without him anymore. Didn't you kind of feel like that? That there was just this heart of God that went, you know what? I think I've had you there long enough, and I think I need you to come home.
Well, I didn't want him to go.
I know. I know you grieved it.
Oh my, think of the words, "Hold me, Jesus, I'm shaking like a leaf."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who would write that? Richard Wayne Mullins.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know, he wrote songs that could have made him a millionaire.
Yeah.
The royalties were incredible.
Right.
He never knew what he earned. He had someone else take it and give it to a board of directors at a church and give it to the ministry.
Yeah.
And he would be paid what the average worker in America was paid.
Yeah.
He was paid like $23,900.
Yeah.
He was earning about $1 million.
Wow.
And he never kept it.
No, he said, I didn't want to know. Because if I knew, I don't know if I could let it go.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, good man.
He
My
was a
best
very,
buddy.
very good man. All right, we're going to be sharing some more of these memories with John Rivers, legendary John. I'm so glad you are here, my friend. Frank Reed, we are going to share and swap some stories over the years. So yeah, guys, this is our See You Later from 94.9 KLTY. It's going to be a lot of music today. It's going to be a lot of joy. It's also going to be a lot of moments where you might hear us crying, but that's okay too, because maybe you're fighting back tears, and we get that. It's a really emotional day for a lot of us. And so, you know, it's crazy to say that we have 3 morning show hosts. 4.
Yeah.
Sorry, 4.
Yeah.
I'm just saying 4 morning shows that are sitting in this room right now that started it off, saw us through for so many years, and are wrapping this up today. What an honor, what a privilege. So let's go back a few years. Here's Rich Mullins on 94.9 KLTY. Wow.
Rich Mullins, 94.9 KLTY. Hey, it's Bonnie and Jeremiah and friends.
And friends.
A whole room of friends.
So
a whole room
many
of history.
friends. Frank Reed is here with us. John Rivers is here with us. And we want to introduce somebody that probably doesn't need an introduction, but we shall. Yeah. It is young William Ryan III. Yes. And man, we are so glad you are here. So, Wills, how old were you when you started with KLTY?
So I was in high school.
Oh, we need a microphone.
Oh, hang on.
There we got him. We got him.
So I was in high school when I started at KLTY. And so, 18 years old or something like that.
Yeah.
Very young. I'm actually middle-aged William Ryan III.
Yeah,
right
you
now,
actually have a little cup today that says middle-aged William Ryan III.
One of the pastors at my church, Ron Spiegel, he gave me this and said, sorry, you're not young anymore. But
so,
old William, so
John, would you tell the story of how William became the morning show producer for you?
Yes. I saw this young man down the hallway. He's running about 3 other foreign language stations. Mm-hmm. And I can just kind of tell he's sharp. I said, Bonnie, who's that?
Yep.
Oh, that's young William Ryan III. Smart, isn't he?
Very.
Yes, he is. Tell him to come see me.
Yeah.
And he did.
Yeah. And I remember you offered me to a job to produce your morning show, and I had no idea what that even looked like. But
you learned.
I remember stepping out thinking, okay, I wasn't even a morning person, honestly. So it was pretty incredible.
And
so
you
lots
did.
of mornings together,
You did. Show. And not just that, but you guys went on to continue working together on 20 The Countdown. And I just, it's the craziest thing. I can't stress to you how young William Ryan III was at the time. Both Frank and I were there for a couple of your first dates with your sweet wife, Christy. We went bowling with him. Ernest and I took William and Christy bowling, and I know you guys did.
We went to the circus earlier that day, the same day with Bonnie and Ernest.
So the story is, John, you and I went to Gospel Music Association Week. And do you remember that we had the booths there?
Big booth.
Up on the mezzanine.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of the hotel. I guess it was
the Renaissance.
The Renaissance.
Yeah,
Renaissance.
Nashville, downtown.
Well, Patty and I came and we took the kids. Well, we needed a babysitter.
Yes, you did.
We needed a babysitter.
Poor Wills.
No, this was great. I love that they needed a babysitter. This turns out really great.
Christy, we had been in Christy's dad's church, and that's how we met Christy. And we went to GMA.
And
I believe Patty was the one who introduced you.
Yeah, well, I actually, Christy was walking by, and we were sort of in that little broadcast booth we were setting up, and I said, Frank, who's your babysitter? You can introduce me.
It doesn't sound creepy at all.
No, not at all.
That does not sound creepy at all.
No.
Christy, I'm so sorry, honey. Like, seriously, right now.
Wow. Yeah, you and Patty, though. But that same day, we went on a date, I remember, to a circus. It was, in town, and Frank and Patty actually had us sitting in the row in front of him, and in front of them, we had Ryan, his son. He was just a little guy then, but he spilled a snow cone on the people in front of us. The entire snow cone. It was like a blue or red, I don't know, and all over their back. And they looked at us. They thought we were the parents.
Yes.
Frank and Patty, they're on the back row behind us, just
cracking
cackling.
up.
Oh yeah, they totally just let us just kind of take the fall for that one.
Yeah.
But then that afternoon we went with you and Ernest, Bonnie to
we went
do some bowling. Yeah, it was so fun. So
it's really cool to actually be part of your history in that way, because fast forward and Wills and Christy got married and had twins.
Yeah.
And I remember how scary it was bringing those 2 babies into the world. They were in ICU for a while. And I just remember lots and lots of prayers. And now, tell us about your kids.
Man, they're 20 now, so 20 years old, so it's crazy, but they are in school. My daughter is in Dallas at Christ for the Nations. She's doing school there, and she just got back from a missions trip where she was in Southeast Asia, and so she was there for 3 months. And then our son, Morgan, he is at Milestone College, which is a kind of a ORU online thing, but they do it there at our church in Keller. So he's living on his own. Bailey's living on her own, so Christy and I are living that empty nester life, which is really, really,
it's
remarkable.
crazy.
So, so So it's crazy how fast it goes.
No, it's very cool to see these faces that I've known for so many years, these memories that we're kind of bringing back up, and you feel it in your heart, and you just kind of start realizing, my goodness, when you think about KLTY, and you think about what this radio station has been for so many families that shared a lot of that story with you. There are people listening right now that know who you are, that go, I do know, young William Ryan III. There are people that when we said John Rivers is going to be joining us, I had so many people come up to me and say, oh my goodness, when I was a kid, I would hear John Rivers' voice and I would just be like, I had so many people that would say, I met Frank one time and he is just as fun and as goofy as you hear him be, and that laugh is real. I had a listener tell me, she goes, he really does cry. And I went, I know he does. And she said, because you prayed with her and you cried. And I just think to myself, y'all, the memories that we have shared with so many people over so many years, that we're just living our lives and kind of sharing them with you as you're listening right now. So maybe you're driving in, maybe you're already there and you're kind of planning out your day. Listen, we understand it has never really been about us. It's always been about you and living this life with you, sharing what's going on with us, because we want to let you know that we're real, we're here, we are messy and we are flawed, but we are forgiven. And man, isn't that what connects us all in the end? And I think that's the very heart of KLTY. It's just the people. Here's more music for you now. It's 94.9 KLTY.
Hey North Texas, it's Xanthia, the morning show producer at 94.9 KLTY. Though it's been a short time here at KLTY for me, y'all, I'm so grateful. All of the awesome people I've gotten to meet, the listeners I've gotten to pray for and laugh with, I'm grateful for all of it. And I believe God placed me here for me to find my voice. I've always been a behind the scenes kind of person, and so this was all really new and scary to me. If you told me a year ago that I would be on a radio station talking to thousands of people on the air, I probably would have passed out. This is not something that I would envision myself doing, but I'm glad I did it. To Bonnie and Jeremiah, thank you for working with me and teaching me every day and encouraging me to be loud and project and do all these things that I wasn't really comfortable with. But it was through getting out of my comfort zone that I've grown the most. So I want to thank you guys for that. And to my sisters and my brother and brother-in-love, thank y'all for being such a huge support. And though y'all get on my nerves sometimes, as all siblings do, I love each and every one of you so much. And to my mom and dad, man, I couldn't ask for a better set of parents. The way that you guys pray for me and encourage me and uplift me and support me on, my toughest days and laugh with me on my greatest days. Thank you. And I'm giving y'all the biggest hug through the airwaves right now. And I want to thank you, North Texas, for receiving me so warmly. I'm glad that I got to meet you guys and pray with you guys and share this small time and space with you all. And I'm praying that God will continue to bless you all in your individual lives. And I also pray that you welcome Caleb just as warmly as you welcomed me. And with that being said, see you later, North Texas. It's been a pleasure.
Sometimes I think
Jordan Felice there, 94.9 KLTY. Good morning. We are Bonnie and Jeremiah and an entire room full of friends.
And so many friends. We've got Frank Reed is with us this morning. We've got John Rivers is with us this morning. And we also have somebody that kind of put this all together, put the wheels in motion. It is Mr. Mark Rodriguez, the original owner of KLTY.
Good morning.
We are so glad you are here. So, I got to ask you, man, what were you thinking when you started this? Because it was not an easy go to get this all put together.
Yeah, you're right. And can you imagine one day I had to go into my dad's office and tell him that I had to blow up the Spanish radio station that he had built, and we were going to start playing Christian music. Right. And that was a challenge. And again, in the 80s, this format was unknown, unfamiliar.
Yeah. Didn't exist.
Yeah.
It's a big risk.
Nobody was doing it. Nobody was doing it.
And nobody thought it would work, and nobody thought it would be competitive. And so big tribute to all the early guys that were with the station.
Wow. John, what was your impression when you first encountered Mark and this idea of KLTY?
I was shocked, kind of. Then I remembered he was like 16 years old when I met him.
That's right.
In
I was
Fort
a
Worth,
teenager.
I was on a station called Z97, the rock
Right.
station.
Right.
And this teenage boy called me. Normally I'd say, no. He said, could we have lunch? I thought, he's pretty classy. Okay, I'll have lunch with this kid.
Right.
We had lunch. He had this idea. We're going to do music and dances, and I guess I'm going to host it or whatever. It was brilliant. Okay, years go by. I don't know if he did anything or not, and all of a sudden he owns this big radio station, and I hear from him again. I'm glad I was so nice to him when he was, when he was a kid.
Yeah.
And he invited me over, and my friend Brad Burkhardt, the consultant.
Yeah.
He was a genius. And we came on board as You Changed Christian Music Forever.
Yeah.
Marcos Rodriguez.
Yeah. The amazing thing about that is Mark, I don't think you realize how many lives have been affected by that decision, that idea that you had. Not just the people sitting in this room.
Yeah.
Because Frank and I were joking about this, that there's this guy, his name is Larry Thompson.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And,
Larry. Yeah.
29 years ago, I had just left KVIL radio, actually. And I was kind of done with radio. Didn't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And Larry knew of me. And he reached out to me and he said, hey, I need somebody to write some copy. I need somebody to help with our commercials and stuff like that. And I said, I don't want to do anything full time. I really don't. But for you, I'll do this. Yeah. And I got to meet you, Mark, and you were kind and you were really sweet. Mm. And I joined this crew called KLTY. And not long after, started doing an air show and started being on the air. And all these years later, Mark, there are hundreds and hundreds of people who have come through our halls.
Yeah.
Various locations, various places. And all of us have gotten to play the Jesus music.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any idea how many lives have been touched? Buddy, do you know how many people got to hear John Rivers lead them and tell them about God? How many people over the years got to hear Frank tell people about his salvation story? Do you know how many people over the years that I've had the privilege of praying with, of crying with, of laughing with? Will is here. Jeremiah is right here. There are hundreds and hundreds of men and women who have called KLTY home. And it's because that kid had this idea to play Jesus music.
Wow. Yeah. Oh,
we're all here because of a God that loves us.
Yeah.
But also for a man that had a vision.
It was a miracle.
Yeah.
It took guts.
It really did.
It did.
It really did.
Hey, Mark, I remember when I flew in for the job interview, right? And I drove over to the tower in Las Colinas.
Oh, my goodness.
And I went to the top of the tower, and I walked into the entry right there, and I went, what? It was so impressive. It was amazing. And then they walked me through, John. John, you had the corner office.
Yes.
I could see the planes coming in over to DFW.
Yeah.
And the studio was 16 stories up, and the whole side of the wall was glass overlooking Lake Carolyn below. And I thought, I think I'm interested in this.
Yes.
Oh, man.
You know?
Never forget it.
So we were kind of joking about Celebrate Freedom and talking about South Fork Ranch because that's where everybody thinks that started. It did not. It did not start right there. So I want to ask this question, and it's for two of the people that were instrumental in making that decision, because I was not there for this particular one, but I will say, when you guys sat around and you thought about, you know what would be fun? Let's throw a concert in the middle of summer outside in Dallas, Fort Worth. I mean, what was going through your heads at that point? Did you think that seems like a great idea? Because obviously it took. Truly, what happened right there?
Well, it made tons of sense to me because I grew up in Spanish radio.
Right.
And we were doing Cinco de Mayo festivals and
Right.
outdoor festivals all the time. And nobody ever complained about the heat. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
And so when Mark Holm, he was a genius entrepreneur from Fort Worth, he was working with me at the time, he suggested we do an outdoor
Right.
relaunch of the station.
Right.
And I thought, absolutely.
You were changing call letters to KLTY, weren't you?
Yeah.
You had to buy
94.1.
buy them from some station in Colorado.
Right.
Yes. We wanted the calls, and they were taken by a station in Liberty, Missouri.
Yeah.
And then they became available later, and we dropped Kojo and went back to KLTY and did a relaunch.
And that was the celebration.
Yeah. John, tell us what you remember about that first one, because it was Michael W. Smith, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, he was one of many. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us what you remember about the very first Celebrate Freedom.
Oh, it was wonderful. All of these great artists came down on their own dime. Yeah. They paid for it.
Wow.
I think Marcos went to pick Michael W. Smith up.
I think he did.
Out of a Learjet. We went out to pick up First Call. You may remember them.
I do remember First Call.
They were in a Learjet. There are many, many more that were there. And we were thinking, this might work. It might actually work. Yeah. So let's salute the audience. Let's give them something.
Yeah.
And so we had Celebrate Freedom.
Yeah. Man, good idea after good idea after good idea, because I got to tell you, every year Frank and I would look at each other and it would be 190 degrees outside, just baking in the sun. And coming up in a little bit, y'all, I'm going to tell you some backstage stories of Celebrate Freedom about John Rivers in a golf cart with his boots out pushing it because it's stalled. And John goes, everybody push, and everybody, but we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. But you know what? Let's kick a song off that was one of the artists that started the very first Celebrate Freedom. Here's Michael W. Smith, 94.9 KLTY.
.9 KLTY on this, the final day on 94.9 as KLTY.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, you wake up and hear our friends continue the hope and encouragement as K-Love. For now, Bonnie and I have friends in the room. I just realized it's like every era of KLTY mornings
really
in
is.
one room.
It really is. It's just a big homecoming right now.
Yeah.
So Frank Reed is with us. John Rivers is with us. Young William Ryan III is with us. We have been joined by Marcus Rodriguez, the original owner of KLTY that kicked it all off for everybody. And so we were talking a little bit about Celebrate Freedom, the very first one, Las Colinas, the craziness of that, and it morphed into year after year after year. We moved it to South Fork Ranch, and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people joined us for a day of celebration. Artists came through that I'm closing my eyes and thinking Jackie Velasquez. I'm thinking
Amy Grant,
Jars of Clay, Amy Grant, Stephen Curtis Chapman, Third Day, names that just inspired so many people for so many years. I want to say something, and I don't know if a lot of people understand this, that John is not a small person, and he owned a coat. He owned a coat that I think it took 9 cows to make this coat. And it had, I don't know, John, what would you call it? That there were things that hung from the arms. It was this leather coat, and it, what was it, tassels?
Yes.
Fringe, kind of thing. And I remember one time you had brought it to the office, and I said, well, let me see it, and I tried it on. Y'all, that coat weighed 1,000 pounds. It was 1,000 pounds. And I remember you would put that coat on in the middle of South Fork Ranch, and you would walk out there, and I just thought, you're going to go up in flames, my brother. John would wear that coat because it was a stunning coat, my friend. It really was. It really was. Now, I know that you did quite a few Celebrate Freedoms. What are some of the things that really stand out in your memory, John?
Wow. The first Celebrate Freedom, of course.
Yeah.
South Fork Ranch. And how many people came.
Yeah.
And then the newsboys were there. I just had the knee operation. Yeah. And we're talking to Peter Furler, kind of the leader of the group. And he found out that I used to be a drummer. He said, "Oh, mate, then you got to drum with us tonight." I'm like, no.
No, thank you.
Yeah, he said, "I got a kit for you." It was Stephen Curtis Chapman's drummer. Yeah. He left his kit up there, and I'm like, "Hello." I just heard the countdown. 120 beats a minute. They go into Shine. And that's my biggest memory.
What a cool moment.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
He said, you're going to play one song, but I had to play all of them. I couldn't get off. I was crippled. It was great.
The Newsboys, they had that platform that went up the drummer.
Yeah,
remember that went up and spun?
Yeah.
Were you on that too?
No.
Okay. I was like, whoa.
John's like, I'm not getting on that
Dangerous,
thing.
yeah.
That
No.
was dangerous.
Yeah, it was a risky thing.
We used to actually, now we switched it. We moved the stage actually years later to be closer to the front of South Fork. And so back in the early days, though, it was way in the back. So the stage was way in the back. And so we would take these golf carts and the green room was way in the front and we would haul everybody. And y'all, by the end of the day, those golf carts had enough. They had enough.
They were torn up.
And I remember that we were all headed back, and it was John, it was Sherry, and it was me, and I don't remember who was driving that thing, but the golf cart gave up the ghost.
It was done.
And we were halfway. We were halfway. And I remember you, Rivers, you go,
Here we go.
Everybody push. And you stuck that boot out and you started pushing with your legs. And the most undignified moment of my existence, because by the way, the crowd is absolutely to our right. Yeah. Everybody can see everybody from KLTY using our feet to just push this golf cart, because by God, you were not going to get out of that golf cart and walk. That was not happening. We were going to roll through and do that. And I just remember it was this team effort of insanity. Don Owens hanging from the rafters, plugging in lights. Like we were looking up going, he could die up there. And everybody went, okay, let's pray for him. And we just kept going. Frank, what are some of your favorite memories?
I think the one that sticks out the most is the first time that we moved it to South Fork. And John, the sun was going down and you and I were on stage and we looked out and it was people for as far as the eye could see. Because we had no idea. We had moved it from William Square and we didn't know how many people were going to show up. And it was like, we looked out through it. Oh my gosh, what have we done? I mean, it was insane.
Endless.
It was just incredible. So many moments. But Bonnie, everybody still talks about the year that we had the mud.
I mean, to be fair, there was quite a few years that we had mud.
But I will never forget it. My son Ryan was 12 and really wanted to meet Toby Mac. And I remember thinking, I always wanted to be the guy that, I never wanted to be that guy always bugging artists for stuff, you know? So I told Ryan, I said, look, he's scheduled to be on with me on the air. If it happens, it happens, but I'm not promising anything. Well, the schedule was all messed up because of the rain. So I did my broadcast, no Toby Mac. So I told Ryan, son, I'm so sorry. So we're leaving the broadcast stage, and I see Toby Mac out of the corner of my eye. And I said, Ryan, wait here just a minute. I go to Toby and say, hey, remember I told you about my son? Toby Mac stopped and engaged my son for 5 minutes. Just talked to him, said, hey, man, understand you're going to be in junior. Man, life's going to change in junior high. Your life's going to change. And that made such an impression on me. After that, whenever I would meet anybody, I would remember the way that Toby Mac treated my son. And then after that, after Toby gets out of sight and we're walking away, and Ryan turns around and he looks at me and he says, Dad, Toby Mac, talk to me. And I will never ever forget that. Just priceless.
There was a moment, if you guys remember Avalon. You know, and I remember, I think it was 2001. I want to say it was 2001. And I remember Rivers seeing you on stage. Frank, you were there. And I don't know that I've ever seen a crowd like that in my life, because their song Testify to Love had just done the crossover. What was the show? What was it? Touched by an Angel? I think that's the show that it actually crossed over into and into the mainstream, where a lot of people. And so the sun was still pretty hot, and you would think that everybody would be so very tired. But I remember looking across at that crowd of people, and I remember the look on your face, John. I remember the look on your face, Frank, and we were smiling because there was all those people with their hands raised.
It's incredible.
And I remember they started singing in that intro, you know what I mean, to Testify to Love, because it's just unmistakable. And you hear everybody singing. And I just remember thinking this is the KLTY family.
Yeah.
This is us.
Yeah.
This is who we are. This is the body of Christ raising hands together and to have those moments together.
Yeah.
So you know what? I want everybody to close your eyes for just a second. And I want you to hear this song as it washes over you, as it washes over us. To realize the privilege of joining our voices to yours.
Yes.
Of raising our hands to Him. Wherever you are. John Rivers, intro this song if you would, my friend.
Avalon and KLTY. Testify to love.
The lovely Emerson Day, 94.9 KLTY. Hey, we're Bonnie and Jeremiah, honored to be in a room right now full of legendary voices.
And you're only talking about me, correct?
Yes. Well, you have multiple voices?
Right?
Sure, I guess.
I mean, why would I not?
You got multiple laughs, that's for sure.
Yeah, I did. Everybody mocking me at this room. This is a really fun day today. Yeah. We are joined. Frank Reed is with us. John Rivers is with us. Young William Ryan III. We've got some... Don Burns is here. We have Mark Rodriguez in the room, the original owner of KLTY.
Incredible.
And it's just been an incredible morning of sharing stories and just what's going on. And so I know a lot of people are asking this question. John Rivers, what are you up to? Like, what is going on in your life? Would you catch us up a little bit? Like, I know you flew in from New York. Why have you been in New York?
Because that's where my bride is from. We're married on January 15th, 2025.
Congratulations.
Karen Rivers.
Nice.
Brilliant, beautiful woman, known for a very long time, and finally convinced her.
How did you guys meet?
We met 33 years ago at a big Grand National Horse Show. Sherry and I were there. Sherry said, we need to get to know her. And we did. And we were just very close friends for a long time.
Yeah.
That's all there was to it. And nothing intimate at all. But, I was all alone 6 or 7 years ago. She flew down from New York to just check on me.
Yeah.
And she flew in every Christmas since then, just to make sure I was okay. First thing you know, I was in love. And she finally came around. And Dan Dean drove up.
Gracious.
Dan Dean of Phillips, Craig and Dean.
Oh, my goodness.
He officiated.
He just driven in from Nashville. He has a wonderful new album the night before. Yeah. And Karen heard his voice, said, I'd like him to marry us. So the next morning, he drove up 2 hours to the ranch, talked to us for about an hour, then said, I think you two will work. Went out in the front yard, beautiful service. And so
Congratulations, my
Karen
friend.
Myers became Karen Myers Rivers. And I'm so grateful.
I can tell. When we were texting back and forth about today, you immediately launched into her. Like, I was laughing. I was like, all right, buddy, we're going to have that conversation. But yeah, I love that you are experiencing this new love at this stage in your life. I could not be more thrilled for you, my friend. This is a beautiful thing to see. So, as we are catching up on a lot of different things, you mentioned Dan Dean. I know that Frank and I will actually understand, and probably the only two people in the room that will understand, leaves on trees. Leaves on trees. Yeah. Dan Dean from Phillips, Craig and Dean. There are so many bands. I know that, over the years, you have watched some careers, but I know that you had a really special relationship with Amy Grant. That over time, I know she considers you a personal friend, John. So what are some of the things that, as you watched Amy's career kind of change and morph, that you want to share?
The main thing is Amy's Amy. She tells the truth.
Yeah.
You may not like it, but she's honest all the time.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of time together talking, and she's the most genuine, Christian, loving lady you can imagine.
Yeah.
I know on the stage she's a big deal, but actually she's just a person, just like all of us. Just a sweet person. Wow. 15 years old, playing a guitar, just wanting to sing folk songs. All of a sudden, she has a record deal.
Yeah.
She's Amy Grant.
Yeah.
Wow. Sweet, sweet, loving lady. Yeah.
There's so many artists that we've watched. I was telling one of my kids, actually, that Luke and Joel from For King and Country. I've known them for so many years, and it was really funny. Luke told me that there was a Celebrate Freedom where their big sister, Rebecca St. James, was one of the headliners.
Yeah.
And Luke told me that we were backstage, and everybody was doing some stuff, and if Pogs, I don't know if you guys remember, Pogs was a huge thing, and Luke was really into those. And he said, Bonnie, you probably don't remember this, but I was just this lanky kid, and you came and sat down with me, and you played Pogs with me, so I didn't feel quite so lonely. I was just like, And you watch them now and you go, it's for King and Country.
Yeah,
like I
yeah,
go,
right.
but I knew them when they were just kids,
Yeah,
you know, and you just watch these people grow up. I remember Jackie Velasquez, you know, she was what, 15?
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
You know, when she got started in the industry, and then you watch this young woman that she became, and you just watch their careers blossom. I know that Jeremiah, we have a local girl that we're super proud of.
Yvette Luna.
Yeah,
that's right.
and it's really funny. I remember Jeremiah came in and he goes, you got to listen to this song. You got to listen to this song. And he plays this song and this voice.
Yeah.
And she's from Dallas. And I know that
she's in
Jeremiah
Mesquite.
championed her.
Yeah.
And he goes, we got to play this song. And
Isn't that
now
right?
she's touring all over
Yeah.
the place. And,
great.
and
So cool.
it's crazy to know that this radio station has had a hand in these people's lives in this way. And so as we go back through all these memories and share this moment with you, we just want you to know something that, yes, we're reminiscing, but for you and your family, you're probably thinking the same thing. So many people have come up and said, I know, Frank, you heard this a million times. I've listened to you since I was a kid.
Well, and you know what's really funny and really something special about KLTY is the generational impact.
Yeah.
Because Bonnie, because we'll go out now and we'll meet parents and they'll say, well, my parents always made me listen to KLTY.
Yes. No choice.
And now my kids are listening to KLTY. And it's been generational. And that has really, really been special to meet those moms and those dads that grew up with us. You know, right? They were just little kids. And that's just so special.
Yeah, to have that impact. I know that for a lot of us, I don't know, for me, you know, Christian music, I started playing records when I was 16 years old at a little station in Farwell, Texas, KIJN. And I remember the first time I ever played Amy Grant and the way I felt and the way her songs and her music and her voice, I just felt so connected to her. So shall we go back a few years?
Let's do it.
Here is Amy Grant. I have decided. It's 94.9 KLTY. Enjoy.
I'm gonna live like a believer. Turn my back. Jesus is the rock, and he all because of that grave robber.
Crowder there, 94.9 KLTY. Good morning. We are Bonnie and Jeremiah on the last Friday, the last broadcast day as KLTY. And this is a very loud and chaotic room.
It really is.
Friends.
Murmured voices everywhere.
I love it.
It's been so fun. We just saw, you know, Melinda just walked by. There are countless people here at KLTY that have kept the wheels turning.
Yeah.
So many people that we count on that are just dropping by to give hugs. It was so funny. There was a sweet guy. He works for Orkin. His name is Hector. And he just drove up here on the chance that he could walk in and say, hey, I've listened for a long time. So, of course, me being me, I said, yo, Hector, you want to come in here and meet everybody? And so, you know,
give us a speech, Hector.
It's been one of those types of journeys that we've had that it has always been with the listener.
Yeah.
It's always been about them. It's always been about you listening right here, right now. And Jeremiah and I were talking to some listeners this morning before everybody got here. And there was a sweet lady that called. And would you just share what she said, Jeremiah?
I don't know if I can get through it. You do it.
Do your best.
I don't think I can.
You have to. She just talked about that she's grieving right now because she feels like she's losing friends. And I get that. I do. Because we are friends. And over the years, you got to know John Rivers, you got to know Frank, you got to know Hudson and Starleen. And there are names that are not here with us today. People like Bob Delancey,
Bob.
Larry Wall,
Yes.
Larry Thompson. Just friends that we have known, people that we said goodbye to. Mark Ryder.
Oh, Mark.
Oh, Mark.
Oh, bless Mark.
That we had to say goodbye to him far too young.
Yeah.
People that you may not know, but they were integral to who and what we are. Andy Picard.
Oh, yeah. Andy.
We said goodbye to Teresa Chandler.
Yeah.
She was our traffic director for so many years. Gary, our accountant. I mean, I have all these faces, these people in my heart that I just keep thinking of who has come through these doors. Andy Jackson, we've joked about Andy Jackson and how fiery and spicy, and she's just this lovely person. Mary Rose was here earlier this morning, and just this cavalcade of personalities and people that have been in front of a microphone for a time that shared their stories and their lives. And to have this listener say, I feel like I'm losing friends. I get it, because it feels that way. It really does.
Yeah.
I'm picturing all these people that we've had the privilege of getting to meet, Frank, Jeremiah, through Christmas Wish.
Christmas Wish.
So Saturday, John, we had this huge get together, and we asked the KLTY family to say goodbye, see you later to us, and just come. And we gave away all the stuff on the walls. It was hilarious, but I'm telling you, it was crazy to go through all the gold records and everything like that. And I know that Jeremiah Mila was there, and we had so many people come up and say, I love your daughter.
And
I love what she means.
Your point of it being generational, maybe we mentioned that off the air, is so true. My daughter at 9 years old had so many children, teenagers even, grown moms, grandmothers coming up to her, asking for a hug, asking for a photo, not because she was a star or anything that anyone else isn't, but because what she shared every single day, the Word of God, Scripture, meant something to them. And there's something about Scripture and the Word being spoken by a child that just gives you goosebumps. It just touches your heart. And you know, we kind of did it as just one of those things we thought we'd try, and we thought it would be fun. And we had no idea that something as simple as a sweet little 9-year-old would have the effect it had on so many families. And she's not here; she's in school along with everyone else's kids right now. So I will say this for her: she has loved every minute, every recording, every early morning, rub the sleep out of your eyes, jump in front of a microphone morning. She loves it. And I have given her multiple opportunities throughout the time here to say, you know what, Mila, you don't have to keep doing this. It's fine. We can keep doing this. She goes, no, Daddy, are you crazy? I have to share Jesus with my friends.
Yeah. Wow. You know, through the years, we've been able to do Christmas Wish. And it has been such a privilege to be able to reach out in a tangible way. And I will tell you something. There was a Christmas Wish, and I was very stressed because there's a lot of moving parts to Christmas Wish. Frank knows I have, oh my goodness, so many late nights, and we have been putting things together. We actually did almost like something that should have been on Home Makeover on the HGTV channel. We redid a whole house. It was, I remember we looked at that and we said, there's no way we're going to do that. And we did it, and we did it, and God was there. But there was an afternoon where I was driving home, and I was very frustrated because there was a family and they had a lot of needs, and everything had been met except that they needed a roof for their house because it was leaking and it was causing so many problems. And I was so vexed because I couldn't seem to get it all put together. And I was driving home and I was very frustrated. And John and Frank and anybody that knows me knows I like to have things done. I like things to be put together, and I like stuff to go according to plan. And it was not. It was not. And I just started praying. I was very upset with God. And I just said, God, listen, I don't know what's going on, but it would be great if you would just help in this moment. That would be terrific. And something just hit me right between the eyes, and I just started crying. And I just went, okay, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, God. And I then changed my prayer to, God, please get me out of the way. Get me out of the way and do something here, because God, I can't. I'm tired. I haven't slept. And I want to help this family, and we want to help this family, but God, I can't, and I'm tired, and please just do something. And as I'm driving home, my phone rings. And it's a guy named Clint who used to work here. And he said, hey, Bon, I know you've got a lot of stuff going on right now, but I just got a call from a client, and they do roofs. Do you think there's a Christmas Wish that might need that?
Wow.
And I had to pull the car over. And poor Clint didn't know why I was sobbing. It was so funny. He had no idea why I was crying so hard. I said, are you okay? And I said, I am. I have to get off the phone with you for a second so I can put it together. And guys, I was so humbled because God told me in no uncertain terms, it was never you. It was never you. It was always me. And through the years, thousands of families have been blessed because of you listening right now. because it was never KLTY. It was always your heart. It was always your generosity. It was always your prayers and your giving that made that happen.
Yeah.
And so whatever you're doing right now, John is here, Wills is here, Frank is here, Jeremiah is here, our original owner, Mark Rodriguez is here with all these friends sitting around us. I can promise you this. It was never us.
Mm. Wow. Hey, Bon.
Yeah.
I've got a Christmas wish story.
Yeah.
You're going to remember this.
Okay.
So Christmas wish was really neat in the fact that because of the help of so many of our sponsors here at KLTY, we had the ability to do some unbelievable things that were just, it's like, I can't believe that we get to do this.
Yeah.
You know, like redoing people's houses and flying people away and reuniting people and all of that. Do you remember? So we get all of these requests of all of this big stuff, right? And a family writes in and they said, here's the deal. Our mom is terminally ill. All she wants is a pair of tickets to go see Casting Crowns in concert in February.
Yeah.
That's all they wanted. I mean, all of the other Christmas wishes were big, but this was all they wanted was to get their mom to see her favorite group, Casting Crowns, before she passed.
Yeah.
And then we got word that the mom might not make it until February. So we reached out to Mark Hall from Casting Crowns, and Bonnie and I are on the air with the family and with Mark Hall from Casting Crowns. And Mark says, you know what? February is really far away. How about this? Could we come over to your living room and set up in your house?
It was amazing.
And have a private concert just for you. Mm-hmm. And there was a pause. And then he said, will next Thursday do? I will never forget that. And it was just one of those things that an artist heard the need. And it was, and Bon, the cool thing about Christmas Wish, we were just the middleman.
Yeah, always.
And God just orchestrated all of these incredible moments. I'll never forget it.
You know what? I feel like Christmas Wish was an extension of not just KLTY, but of you.
Yes.
And so there has been a voice of truth that has echoed on this radio station, and it's been about love. It's been about giving. And so for that Christmas Wish and for that woman who went on to be with the Lord, for everybody that gave, here's Casting Crowns. It's 94.9 KLTY.
94.9 KLTY. Good morning. We are Bonnie and Jeremiah and all of our friends hanging out on this, the final day of 94.9 KLTY.
Crazy. Just a fun time. Frank Reed is here. John Rivers, one of our originals here in the studio with us. Young William Ryan III, his producer, now just a dad of two amazing kids, and just they're grown up. This is a crazy thing. Mark Rodriguez, our original owner, is here with us. We've had so many people stopping by. Now, we want to give everybody a little heads up. We have a very special guest coming in later today. It is the one, the only Stephen Curtis Chapman. And I think all of us have Steve stories just over the years. But John, I mean, he has a special place in your heart.
Yeah, we were friends for a long time. And he had adopted a little girl from China.
Yeah.
Shohana. And we were on the air in Nashville at the GMA Gospel Music Week. Big studio. It's all glass. We're sitting inside on the air. So the last interview was getting close to 10 o'clock. Stephen Curtis Chapman's on for like 15 minutes. And we're talking. And he goes into this whole deal about, these little girls in China, they need a home.
Yeah.
I know you'd like to have a motorcycle or a Corvette or addition to your home or swimming pool. I'm saying to myself, like,
where's he going with this?
Yes. Yeah, I'd like to have
all those things are good.
Because I'm thinking, after I spent a lot of time in Vietnam, 2 years, and in my heart, I had not a hate, but just I don't want an Asian person here. I don't want to adopt an Asian baby.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank God Stephen can talk forever.
Yes, he can.
All right, I said I'd never say this in public again because it's unbelievable, but it's true. So I'm thinking those things, and all of a sudden I go blind. I mean blind, black, nothing, cannot see anything. And in the distance, like in the movie theater, it's all blind, a little white dot started coming toward me. It got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And all of a sudden there's a full picture, and there is a little baby floating with slant eyes. And God said, he really did. It was God Almighty said to me, go get her. And
You did.
All I said was, but I'm going to be 54. He didn't answer. I could take orders. I'd been a Marine. And I was healed of that thing inside me. I loved Asians all of a sudden. And I just told Stephen after it, how do I do it? What? Get a baby girl from China.
I want to adopt.
Yeah.
And you did.
And he said, I'll have the information to you.
Yeah.
Like Monday.
Yeah.
We got back on Monday. We're on the air. We're live from the ranch. I guess we're on KLTY at the time. I guess so. And he calls the hotline. I pick it up. He said, hi, how you doing? He's just talking to me, and he's not mentioning the baby. What he's doing is trying to let me off the hook. He's saying, oh, John got all emotional.
Right.
I just said, Stephen, where's the stuff? It'll be here tomorrow. FedEx came. Here it was. We started a long 13-month, every kind of investigation you could have on us.
Yeah.
FBI, you name it, medical. They visited our house. And 13 months later, on the way back from Nashville, once again, we get a call from the adoption agency, America World. And this young lady said, we have a selection for you. And so they sent us a picture of this little baby girl. And we would be in China for like 2 or 3 weeks and go through it's very difficult. And bring that baby home, little Lexi, who is now 22, graduating from A&M.
Oh, wow.
Staying.
22.
She's going to be a master's degree, probably go on for a doctorate. She has more brains than me and everybody else. So. That's a true story. I know it sounds nuts. It really happened. It really did. So there you go. That's the short version, too.
Wow. Thank you, John.
I'm literally coughing right now.
Right.
The amazing thing is over the years, Steve and his family have helped so many people through that adoption process.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, he's got one of the best hearts I've ever known. One of the things that I love about a Steve song is he throws himself into it.
Yeah.
And I remember playing this song, and we would play the long version. Because there is something about this song. Because all of us, John Rivers, Frank, Wills, all of us, sometimes we get started on a path that we don't see the end to. That God demands something of us.
Yes.
That he says, trust me. Follow me.
Yeah.
And you may not see it. You may not understand it. None of the disciples did. He just said, follow me. And when you do, when you act in faith, when you take those first steps, when you say, okay, God, I'm going to do this thing.
Yes.
What a great adventure. Stephen Curtis Chapman, ladies and gentlemen, saddle up your horses. It's 94.9 KLTY.
94.9 KLTY FM and KLTY HD1 Arlington, Dallas, Fort Worth.
Encouragement lives here.
Hey, this is Ann Wilson.
Austin French. Chris Tomlin. Jordan Felice. From the KLTY studios. Keep loving Texas, y'all.
Keep loving Texas, y'all. 94.9 KLTY.
94.9 KLTY. Good morning. We're Bonnie and Jeremiah with friends Frank Reed, John Rivers, young William Ryan, Marcos Rodriguez, our original owner. Y'all, I just lost it because my family is here. My husband and daughters just surprised me. So, John Rivers, before we let you go, I know that a lot of us have so much to say thank you for.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for being that voice for so many people. I know I got to write a lot of things for you, old friend. And I knew your voice. I knew it like the back of my hand, and it was like a warm hug every time I heard you. And Frank, I know you had some things you wanted to say.
So, John, I was in New York.
Yep.
Media Market number 1. I was engaged to be married. And
you got this. Come on.
You called and said, Frank, we have an afternoon opening here. Would you be interested in coming? I said, sure, I'll fly down there. So I flew down. It was very, very impressive. And I'm engaged to be married.
Yep.
I go back and Patty said, how'd it go? I said, well, really good. Really, really good. I said, would you be interested in moving to Texas? And she said, well, I'm not so sure about that. And so we talked again, and I said, John, I'm interested in coming. I said, but if I'm going to come, God needs to tell my future wife. So you said, let me fly you both down. Mark Rodriguez and John flew us down first class on Delta. And you had flowers waiting in her room. Good idea. And then, Mark, we got to go to your wedding reception that weekend at the La Cima Club with Brad Burkhart and me and Patty. And we went up, and it seemed like that everybody that worked at KLTY came up to my future wife and said, hello, welcome. They're just so friendly. And I was determined that I wasn't going to manipulate this in any way. I just thought, if we're supposed to come, God's got to tell her. And I took her back to the hotel room that night. And I said, what do you think about all this? She said, I think God wants us to move to Texas. And John, I will be forever in your debt because this radio station changed my life. Got to raise my family here. Share life with all these wonderful listeners and this wonderful staff. And I'm forever in your debt, and I just wanted to say thank you.
Wow, Frank. You're welcome. You changed the station.
Yeah, he did.
Nobody's like Frank.
Nobody.
He's a real human being.
Captain
you
Frank.
You can hear it.
The one and only.
Thank you.
Yep.
So, John, it has been a privilege and a joy to be able to spend some time with you. I know so many KLTY listeners literally were like, John Rivers. I mean, it was just... And so I remember that there was a way that you used to finish up your show every single morning. And there are so many listeners that remember that as well. There was a special song that you would play that was near and dear to your hearts. It was always Happy Trails. Would you please close this out for us, John Rivers, for the last time?
To you, oh my, until we meet again. Happy trails to you, oh my. Somebody help me.
It's just good hearing your voice, my friend.
Thank you. KLTY's blessing to me even to this day. And we say goodbye for now.
For now.
We meet.
Seth Schleter, 94.9 KLTY. Good morning.
Not
We're
the day to
Bonnie
make
and
fun of
Jeremiah.
his name, but I'm going to one more
we're
time.
going to leave that alone today.
Seth Schleter.
Bonnie, don't do it.
Such a strange
Don't do
name.
it.
Seth Schleter.
Actually, it's very much us.
It's very
it's
on
much
brand
us.
for us. Good morning. We're Bonnie and Jeremiah on this unbelievable day. I don't know that I've cried as much as I've cried today. It has been such an inspiration just talking to John Rivers and hanging out with Frank, and our first owner, Marcus Rodriguez, has been lurking around. He's still in there. I'm waving at him. Hello, Marcus. And it's really cool to have this moment because I am looking across a sea of faces right now that I consider family, and it's kids that have grown up with KLTY and so many years, so many experiences. Producer Bailey is here with us right now.
Welcome back, girlie.
Hello. We are just having these little moments of just kind of sharing some KLTY memories that we have. So, Bailey, What's something that meant a lot to you from KLTY?
You know, there's so many memories, especially with the two of you, just the early mornings in the studio and just the laughter that we shared and the tears that mostly I cried.
Yes, you do cry a lot.
You do cry a lot.
But I would have to say one that really sticks out is some of you may know Connor, who used to work in promotions.
He's like a unicorn.
Yeah. And you, me, and Callie actually teamed up together to try to scare him.
Yes.
And we just completely failed. But it was just so funny.
I hid in the back of a van, y'all. I hid in the back of a van for 30 minutes to scare this kid because he told me
In
to
Texas
my face.
heat?
Yes,
Oh.
he told me to my face, no one can scare me. And so Callie and I went, challenge accepted. And we tried and we failed because Connor can't follow directions. And I can't stress that enough. Connor, if you're listening, you still can't follow directions. So there that is. We could not scare Connor. It was embarrassing and horrible. And Callie came around the corner just screaming at him, Connor, we told you the side door. He was like, oh. So yes, that was a great memory. And speaking of Callie, who happens to be here, Callie, the brains of our promotions department for so many years, the effort, the time, I cannot express to you. She hosted Saturday nights for so long, but guys, I cannot begin to tell you how many things that KLTY did that went off without a hitch because of this woman. Callie, I'm so glad you're here. Is there something that is on your heart right now?
I would not miss this for the world. I've been thinking all week, what am I going to talk about? And I don't have one singular event or memory. I have 50.
Yeah.
But I think what I'm going to miss the most is just, I don't think anyone understands how many nights when you were doing evenings, how many nights we stood in this room, in this studio, and cried. We laughed, we hugged, we gossiped. And that is what I'm going to miss the most, is the me and you in these four walls. Just, I went through a lot in the last couple of years.
Yeah,
and there were so many times where I came to you for advice and you're like, I cannot give you advice. I don't know what you're going through. All I can do is be a shoulder to cry on. And you've done that. You have been my mentor for 8 years. And I cannot tell you how thankful I am. You'll never understand. And I know that all of DFW feels the same way. They're so grateful for you and Jeremiah and the whole team here at KLTY. I grew up here. I started here at 21, 30 now. I have a son. It's just, I'm going to miss the people the most.
I love you, Callie. So Tiff, also part of our team for a very long time. What are you going to miss the most?
I think, Bonnie, I'm going to miss the most is you testing me.
Yeah.
You knew how to push my limits.
I do.
She knows
A lot.
everybody's buttons and limits.
Yes. My favorite one is whenever we go to State Fair, the live broadcast. You knew how picky of an eater I am.
Yep.
And you said, I don't care. Put it in your mouth.
Yes.
Just eat it.
You learn quickly. Don't ever tell Bonnie what you don't like because that's what you're doing.
That is
Right,
really what I'm going to focus on.
And no matter what, and I would fake a bite or I'd fake a drink.
Oh, I knew.
And she would say, now take a real one. And she could just see my face and be like, oh yeah, I'm busted. I'm caught.
Yeah.
And I love that you were able to push me out of my limits because I needed someone to do that. And I really appreciate it.
I love you too, sweetie.
I love you.
So Josh Dack, the only person, one of the few people in the building that I actually looked up to because I'm 6 feet tall.
Everyone looks up.
And Josh is tall, and now he works at our sister station, our friends at KCBI, and I could not be more proud of you, my friend. So what is something that you're going to miss?
Oh, my goodness. I was talking to, you know my wife, Megan.
I do.
Well.
I love you, Megan.
You literally helped us get engaged, which was crazy that we walked through that together. You were the first person we called after we got engaged.
know.
It's like, it happened. It happened.
I know. I cried.
Not without hitch, but it happened.
I know. It was messy. It was messy.
It was.
It really was.
It was a story that it was ended up with me in a tire shop the next day.
It was crazy.
And I was in the back of a cop car because they gave me an escort to get a new car. So that's
I think I put it on the air. I think I said, you have to tell this story on the air because it was so impossible. And the fact that you're married, I cannot believe that actually worked. Good on you, Megan, for seeing past that engagement.
You know it's bad when your first words, when you get down on one knee, is, I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry. It's a true story.
It's so bad. But I was talking to Megan about this last night, and Bonnie, this is a weird way to describe you. You were like a human x-ray machine. And when I say that, it's because you can see in other people what we don't see in ourselves. And you push us to our limits, similar to what Tiffany said, but there's just this utmost confidence that you have in us when we don't see it in ourselves. And I love you, and I thank you just for being such a positive voice in my life, and for being somebody who pushed me to my bounds when I was out, in my comfort zone. And you were one of a kind, and I love you.
I love you too. Speaking of people I've pushed just a bit, Anna, engineering now.
Yeah.
Do you have something that you are going to miss, something that you remember?
A lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of things that happen in events, here in the office, in the studios, in the bathroom, crying.
I know.
Yeah.
Guys, I have no idea how many people have cried on me in the bathroom. It's just crazy. I will say this. It has been such a privilege, not just with you guys, but with so many KLTY family members over the years, to pray with you, to encourage you. Look, I'm an incredibly flawed person. I have the strangest sense of humor. I think all of you will attest to that. But I love people. I love our KLTY family. I love you guys because I just feel like everybody deserves a cheerleader in their life. I believe that everybody needs somebody that's on their side. And it's always been my hope and prayer that I could be that person in people's lives, to be your cheerleader, to let you know that I see you. And I believe in you on your bad days, on the days where you're just questioning if you can keep going, on the days that you know you dropped the ball and you yelled at your kid or you forgot something, on the days where you know that your boss doesn't see you and you just keep working and struggling and you just wonder, am I going to see this? Am I going to see this through? You are. I promise you are. And I'm just one voice, but it's a voice that from the heart says, you are so loved. You are so capable of so much more than you realize. And that God has such a good plan for you. Every day of your life, He is proud of you. Every single breath that you take, He looks at you with love. And so if you feel like you're not seen, you are. If you feel like you're not heard, you are. If you feel like you're alone, you are not. To everybody that has given me the opportunity to be in your life, I thank you from the bottom of my heart because I see you. I see you, Jeremiah. I see you, my friend, with so much potential and so much to give. And I am grateful for each and every one of you guys. I know you can do anything you set your minds to because I believe in you. And so does God, and so does your family and everybody. So, all right, I got to stop. Here's more music now on 94.9 KLTY.
Jesus, you were there faithfully.
KLTY, Patrick Mayberry here. Just wanted to give a very heartfelt, sincere thank you for the countless ways and the years of just partnership that you guys have had with artists like myself, carrying songs of hope and love and the story of Jesus, the life-changing story of Jesus, and sharing them with thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people, getting songs onto people's radios in their car, finding them at their lowest moments, and offering a better option, a better solution. What if there's another way? What if Jesus really has another way? And lives are changed, marriages are restored, relationships are healed, people have found new life. And I'm just so grateful for all of your work and in just the years of faithful stewardship. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for believing in a newer, younger whippersnapper artist like me. I don't think I'm young, I'm getting a little gray, but I'm just so grateful for y'all's belief in me and playing my songs and the impact that you've had. I hope that you've caught glimpses of it, but I believe we will meet people in heaven who will say, oh, I heard that song on this radio station when I was driving through Dallas. Thank y'all so much. Praying for you in this next season. God bless.
Well, I've been turned round, but I'm
94.9 KLTY for a few more hours at least. On this, the final day. Sure.
It really has. And we have spent the morning sharing memories and hanging out with legends. And it was really funny. While all of it was happening, I kept looking across at you, just kind of going, you got this.
Yeah.
Y'all, it's really hard to do this. I thought I would be a little more prepared for this. And
me too.
You know, I'm going to drop by and have some conversations with Tony and Jeremiah. I can say this with a full heart, my friend. Over the years, I've done middays here at KLTY. I've done afternoons. I even briefly did a little bit in the evenings, you know. Mm-hmm. Doing mornings. I cannot think of a better way to say goodbye to all of this than with you, my friend. You made me want to do this. I have not done a combination show ever, like at least in a bazillion years. And I have been a solo girl most of my career. You made me want to work together. And this has been the most fun, my friend.
It really has. You know, several people in the business, listeners around town that stop me, have said, you've only been there a couple of years. Do you regret making this move? Do you resent KLTY? I said, not at all. Not at all. The time spent here with listeners and praying with the callers, and the adventures and the concerts and the moments on air we've had together.
Yeah. Me throwing things at you.
Yes. Threatening me live on the radio.
Yes.
I wouldn't trade that for the world. It's been fun. It's been silly. It's been chaotic. You know Bonnie and I well, I'm sure by now. But it's also been a powerful time of ministry. Ministry through the music, ministry through the moments on air together, even how silly they may have been. But moments of ministry with you in between those breaks. You just probably can never guess how many times Bonnie and I have closed the microphones, gone straight to the phones, and people say, I can't believe I'm talking to you. I can't believe you actually answered the phone.
Because we're here.
Or I've been trying to get through for 15 days. And we stop and literally pray with so many people because it's what we do. We're the church. We're family. We're not just here to entertain. We're not just here to be silly and push a play button. It's been ministry for us as much as it's been a job and a show. So thank you, every time you've tuned in, for giving us the honor of stewarding this thing called KLTY Mornings.
Yeah.
With you, your family, and more importantly, your kiddos and all those ears.
I know this is going to be hard.
Yeah.
I want you to take a deep breath.
Okay.
And I want you to say what's in your heart to Anna, to Mila, and Mateo. This last time that Daddy gets to talk to you on the air.
Anna, all the adventure radio has sent us on. We've moved. We've changed stations. We've moved again. We've changed stations. And, you know, God has always opened doors. And we have done our best to listen and honor. And I'm so thankful for your heart and your partnership. Every time a new door opens, you have been consistent in your support in saying, okay, let's go. So I thank you for your strength and your partnership. I couldn't have asked for a better best friend to change cities with.
Again and again and
again and again. And to Mila and Mateo, I know they're in school right now, but I hope their spirits know how much I love them. And what an honor it has been to be their daddy. More than a morning show, more than a job, more than hanging out with rock stars like Brennan Lake and,
Who is a rock
Colton
star?
Dixon we talked about earlier. At the end of the day, the only thing I can think about is coming home to you three. I love you all so much.
Good job, buddy. Okay.
Your
so
turn. Your turn.
I walked in these doors in 1996. Aaron and Stacy were just little girls. My husband, Ernest. I have not often used this microphone to express to my family what it's been like to share both my life on the air and with them. You know, over the years, I would tell you stories, the KLTY family, about Aaron and Stacy and Ernest, and I would share bits and parts of our lives. And they were very funny about it over the years. My husband would constantly remind me, hey, don't share everything. But I shared a lot.
Yeah.
And I can remember the early days where Ernest would come out to remotes with me because he wasn't 100% that they would look after me enough. And he would be standing back there watching out over me. I remember taking Aaron and Stacy to celebrate freedom, and they got the VIP treatment because they were my kiddos, and they got to enjoy far too much free Bluebell ice cream. That was a highlight. My very good friends, Brian and Carla, would go with us. So oftentimes my dear friend Carla Hill would actually start those broadcasts off with me. She would get up at the crack of dawn and come out there with me. My daughter, Erin, is this brave, amazing person. Her husband, Rodrigo, has added so much to our family. He is this lovely, lovely man. And I'm so grateful for him. Erin is this incredible artist, and I'm just going to say this. She's going to be the featured artist at the Fort Worth Main Street Arts Festival, and I am so proud of her because she is fearless, and she feels everything. She feels everything, but she still marches forward, and she acts like she doesn't care, but she does, probably deeper than anybody. My daughter, Stacy, the gentlest person in our entire family. She is kind when she doesn't have to be. She is funny, probably one of the funniest members of our family, and quietly. And when she was little growing up, she would just be latched onto my leg because she just likes being close. She's an amazing teacher there in Midlothian. And she gave us the two greatest gifts in the world, my grandsons, Gideon and Noah. And bringing them into this world has changed my life forever. And to my husband, Ernest, of 39 years this year, thank you for believing in me. Thank you for supporting me, for being the person that stood there in the back and let me shine. And gave me all the strength I needed to do this. To my family, you are everything to me. And I am grateful every day of my life for you. And as I say goodbye to my KLTY family, I want you, the KLTY family, to know, thank you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your love, your support, your prayers. Thank you for allowing us into your lives. Thank you for the privilege of spending time with you. I cannot begin to tell you how much I love you and how much it has meant to be a part of your life. So on behalf of myself and Jeremiah, thank you.
And for the very last time, our friends, we say, we're Bonnie and Jeremiah.
On 94.9 KLTY.
KLTY FM and KLTY HD1, Arlington, Dallas, Fort Worth.
Every song is a prayer for me, and I can tell you I'm somebody who needed it.
The music that warms your heart is on 94.9 KLTY. Lift your spirit. 94.9